Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and the countdown has begun for the next FOMC meeting, which won't be this week, but it will be next week. This week, however, we are getting a lot of information, a lot of data. Let's get prepared for it. The bull market is in the hands of two big bits of data coming out this week. This is going to be a very, very short video just to get you prepared for what's coming up this week ahead of the market open tomorrow and tonight when futures open. But there is two big things coming out this week. So CPI CPI data is coming out this week, even though we are in a shutdown. We also have CPI from the UK and then the FOMC. Three big events. So let me run you through what those three big events are. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you have hit the like button. So that you will be prepared for when these bits of data does come out. We'll be covering them all live on the show, plus the FOMC next week. So, three events. UK's CPI, that's coming out on Wednesday or Thursday. US CPI, October the 24th, that's on Friday. And then the Federal Reserve meeting is happening between the 28th and the 29th. We get the decision on the 29th of October. This will decide whether markets will keep pushing higher or retreat back to defensive mode. This week is going to be very important. Make sure you are staying tuned with us. I'll give you all the information now, and then once the data comes out, we'll analyze it together and we'll be live watching it. I'll tell you what to look out for. Now, this is going to be a very short video, so watch it all the way to the end. Each event measures the same thing, but in a different way. How fast inflation is cooling and how much longer central banks will keep financial conditions tight. If inflation keeps falling, remember CPI is all about inflation. That's one side of the Fed, what they care about. Stocks and crypto can stay in risk on mode. If not, we're back to risk off. Tighter liquidity, stronger dollar, weaker risk on assets. So the first thing that's going to give it away or give us an insight will be UK CPI. Not many people will be looking at this. However, the UK is slightly ahead of the US in terms of bringing inflation down, and they're very correlated. What's the word? They're very correlated. Yeah, I can't say the word. Anyway, they are very in sync. So if the UK CPI is coming down, the US CPI will be coming down as well most of the time. So it will give us a very, very good indication a couple of days earlier than we get the US CPI. Remember that because of the shutdown, we haven't got the US CPI, but they found some funding. They need the US CPI data so they can make the FOMC decision next week, and we're going to get it. But first, on Wednesday, we're going to get UK's CPI. So the Office for National Statistics, the ONS, will publish September's inflation data midweek. Remember, they can't publish October because October is not done. They're always a month behind. So they're going to be publishing September's inflation data on Thursday. The UK has been one of the fastest to cool headline prices from over 11% in 2022 to 3.8% in August. But service and wage inflation remains sticky. Remember, we are seeing that stickiness across the board in the UK and the US. Very correlated. Why traders care? The UK print often leads the US trend by a few weeks because of faster energy and import cost pass-through. A soft UK number will signal global disinflation is intact, giving equities and crypto green light early in the week. A hot number would reset expectations, especially in European and US futures. That inflation is proving harder to kill, turning sentiment defensive. I'm going to just double check. Let me just see over here. Are we just running smoothly? Because we had some issues going live. No, we're all good. If you have just tuned in, make sure you have hit the like button. Make sure you have subscribed. We're going to come on to the US CPI data as well as the FOMC. I'm going to give you all my thoughts ahead of the data coming out. Let me go over here and go over here. So this is coming out. The UK CPI is on the 22nd. So that is Wednesday. So it'll be midweek, we've got that. And then the US CPI will be coming out on Friday. So 2 days before we get the US CPI, we're going to get the UK CPI. UK CPI is on Wednesday. US CPIs on Wednesday. So markets read, if CPI eases, so if inflation comes down, remember CPI is one of the main ways to look at inflation, consumer price index. If it comes down, if it eases, risk assets typically rally. So you'll see the FTSE go up, potentially will have an effect on the Nasdaq and Bitcoin as well, because they will be, they're more dependent on the US CPI because the US market is the biggest, but they will still have the UK CPI will still have an effect because of the correlation between the two. Correlation, that's the word. If CPI surprises higher, traders front run a stronger US print, dollar up, equities, and crypto dip. So if we see CPI go higher, more sticky, a surprise jump towards the upside in the UK, then that's when we will go risk off. And the same applies to US CPI. So on Friday, the 24th of October, 8:30 Eastern time, we'll be covering it live on the show. So all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed and you've got your notification bell on. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, even though we are in a US shutdown, will be releasing CPI data. Despite the government shutdown, yes. Other key data sets, jobs, retail, trade remain frozen. So this one number will set the tone for all macro positioning before Fed's next week. So we're not going to get any more jobs data from the US. Yes, we will have the private data, but very much so, this is the only bit of data coming out the US this month with the shutdown. So this is all we're going to go off, plus what we heard from Jerome Powell last week and a Fed Waller. So the only piece of data that the Fed has to go off, that the market has to go off, is this bit of CPI. So why does it matter for the market? CPI decides whether we're risk on or risk off. Remember, risk on means everyone likes to go on to risky assets. They don't mind taking on risk to get better returns. That's what are risky assets? Well, that's mainly all the stocks and crypto we're interested in. The stock market, AI, Tesla, all of these, the stock market rallies when we're risk on, crypto rallies when we're risk on. If we get any fear, people go to defensive, people go to treasury bills, people go away from the stock market, and that's called risk off. So if CPI comes down, we're going to stay risk on. So if inflation data slows again, if we get that soft landing that we are expecting, the narrative stays alive, supporting equities, crypto, and high beta plays. If CPI reaccelerates, so if it starts going back towards the upside, traders will price out rate cut hopes, triggering a broad de-risking in tech, small caps, and altcoins. Remember, if CPI starts to go back up, the Fed has two jobs: keep CPI down, bring it down to 2%, and also make sure the jobs market's strong. The jobs market is weakening, but it's not in a terrible state yet. So if we start getting inflation going back towards the upside, the Fed might decide, actually, maybe we'll cut rates this time, but then they'll have a hawkish tone in the next in the meeting, and we won't have any rate cuts next time. Or they might even decide to have no rate cuts if inflation really goes up. And that will really send the markets down, and I'll explain why in a second. So risk on scenario: CPI cools, the Fed can stay on hold. S&P, Nasdaq, Bitcoin extend higher into the month. That's the CPI calls. Altcoins will follow the liquidity, and everyone will start buying the dip, and we'll have really, really big upswings. If we get that risk off scenario, CPI surprises to the upside. If inflation goes back towards the upside, higher for longer returns, the dollar will strengthen. Equities and the stock market will weaken. Crypto will continue to go down. Might actually head into a bear market, and people will start unwinding their leverage. With the shutdown limiting other data, there's nothing to offset the move. So, shutdown dynamics. The US, remember, this is all from our newsletter. I'll keep updating you throughout the week. If you haven't got the newsletter, the link is in the live chat. It's the first link in the description as well. There is a free plan. The monthly plan will be going up in price. So if you haven't got the monthly, if you want to try it for a month, you can always do it that way. You can also try it for a week on the yearly plan as well. But just to let you know, that monthly subscription plan will be going up in price, I think by the middle of next month. So anyone who's already on the monthly plan won't be increasing. There is also a free plan. Go check it out. First link in the description. The US government shutdown means limited visibility for investors. Agencies like the Central Bureau and Commerce Department have halted GDP, retail sales, and housing releases. Only CPI report survives, classed as mission critical. That makes markets more reactive. Less data equals more emotion. We're not getting any data apart from the CPI this month. So the markets will be more very, very reactive to this CPI data. It will probably be the most important CPI data we've got since COVID. And that's how much the market will react on this on Friday. That makes, if you have just tuned in, please do hit the like button. We're getting you prepared for this week's data. That makes markets more reactive. Less data equals more emotion. Every inflation print or Fed remark now carries extra weight as volatility spikes, tends to feed through first to crypto, then equities. Remember, crypto is more of a risky market. So if we go risk off, crypto will sell off more. Remember what happened last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago now, where we got one piece of bad news about tariffs and the crypto market sold off way, way more than the stock market. We're not even going to get any more Fed remarks. Remember, we covered all the Fed last week. They are going into a blackout period. No more Fed remarks. So the only thing we're going to go off is CPI on Friday. Then that all depends. And then the reason CPI is so important is because we've got FOMC the week after. On the 28th to 29th of October, we got Powell giving us his speech. Half an hour before that, we'll get the rate decision, and then we'll get a speech, all covered live on the show. So the FOMC meeting meets next week with the federal funds rate at 4% to 4.25, following the first cut in the year in September. Futures markets price a 99% probability of another 25 basis point cut. That's what's key. The market right now is 99% sure we're going to get another rate cut. However, if CPI goes wildly towards the upside, that can change and the market can crash. The market is so confident we get a rate cut. If we get CPI really accelerate to the upside again, then we're going to have maximum effect on the market, because that 99% might drop down to 50% and the market will really react. So why it matters: after keeping policy tight through most of 2025, the Fed began trimming rates only once inflation and jobs growth clearly slowed. A second cut will confirm the pivot to easing is underway, shifting the debate from how high to how fast. Markets care less about the cut itself. Than Chair Powell's tone. Yes, what Jerome Powell will say is very, very important. We most likely will know exactly if we're going to get a rate cut or not, but we won't know what Jerome Powell is going to say. Whether he projects confidence in disinflation or warns that sticky service inflation could still delay deeper easing. So here are the scenarios that can happen. CPI can be soft. It can be coming down. That means we'll get that 25 basis cut. We'll get Powell being dovish and a little bit hawkish. The market will be risk on, and the market will continue rallying until obviously the market's very overheated now. There's only so much it can rally before it crashes. But in general, if CPI is soft, we'll get that 25 basis point cut. Jerome Powell will probably be good with his tone. The market will perceive it as good, and we'll still be risk on because it reinforces the soft landing story, and they'll extend their Q4 rallies. I apologize. I am very, very ill today. I really did want to bring you this live stream, but I apologize for my tone. Anyway, CPI, if CPI is hot, 25 basis, so this is if inflation goes up and it's hot, we could still, and we most probably will still get a 25 basis point rate cut. But the tone, this is where the tone gets important, because Powell will probably be hawkish, and then we will still go risk off mode. So the cut is seen as insurance, not dovishness. Market fades, tech and crypto give back gains. And we will most likely know Powell's going to go hawkish if we see CPI is hot. So the market will start pricing in as soon as we've got that CPI data on Friday, live on the show. The reason the market will sell off if it's hot is obviously because we will sort of understand what Jerome Powell is going to say in that speech. So we'll still be risk off even if we get 25 basis point cut. If CPI is very, very hot, worst case scenario, we don't get any rate cut and we'll go full risk off. This would be an absolute shock. No one is expecting rate cuts to stay where they are. We're 99 pricing that we will cut. So that would mean we get a really bad CPI print on Friday, and the markets will crash like very, very, very hard if we get CPI much higher than expectations. That's worst case scenario. Be prepared for it, but it's the more unlikely scenario, but still be prepared for it. In every case, Powell's framing will set the November tone, whether traders keep buying the dips or rotate into defensives to close the year. The global connection. I'm going to move on to the bottom line. So if inflation cools, markets stay risk on. So it's all about CPI. Remember, we'll get UK CPI, which will give us sort of an idea of what Friday's going to be. So it's a slight preparation for Friday. But Friday's going to be the most important. So Friday is when we'll see is inflation cooling in the US. If it is, equities climb, crypto momentum returns, and the soft narrative becomes even stronger. If inflation pops higher, the sentiment will go risk off, dollar will go up, liquidity tightens, speculative assets correct. The UK CPI, US CPI, and FOMC sequence will determine whether October ends in a relief rally or another round of macro-driven selling. So there we go. Excuse me, I didn't want to do that, but I had to. Okay, what I'm going to do, actually going over into an Electrum event now. I hope I'm going to go into your questions as well for 5 minutes. Let me put a 5-minute countdown on. Let me do this. I'm just going to put a 5-minute. 1 second. Okay, so we're actually going to go over to an Electrum event, which is our newest membership. If no one is an Electrum member, we do these every single Sunday where we go. Brian Bynum just gave 5 memberships. Wow, look at that. What an amazing timing. Let me put this 5-minute countdown on again. And let me just show you what's happened here. To claim it, make sure you have hit the like button, you have subscribed. There you go, Brian Bynum. Thank you so much. Look at this. Thank you, Brian Bynum, for giving 5 Martyn Lucas memberships away. This is a great time for anyone who's just received a membership to upgrade to Electrum, because you're getting Electrum for the price of bronze. Anyway, 4 minutes time, we're going over to our Electrum event. We're going to be giving away prizes, merch. We're going to be learning a lot. I'm going to be doing some chart requests. Every Sunday we do this. It's our newest membership. Do go and check it out. It is a premium membership, but a lot of it is at our cost. So do check it out. You get all the bronze perks, you get all the silver perks, plus all the Electrum perks. Excuse me. You get all the silver perks, all the bronze perks, plus the Electrum perks. So we'll be going over to the Electrum in 3 minutes and 53 seconds. It's going to be a members only event. If anyone hasn't become an Electrum member and wants to, this is a great time to do it, because we'll be going over to that event now. Sana DW, do you remember me by any chance? Sana, we had someone become a member last week called Sana, no? Why would I remember you, Sana DW? Let me know. Give me some context, and maybe I do. Let me go through some of these comments. Steve says, I hope this is good news. We don't know. We have to wait for the data. We'll get an indication on Wednesday with UK. Sensei just finishing dishes before he starts. I was just trying to prepare, just taking all sorts of prescription drugs to see if I could do this live stream. That's what I was doing. Oh, yeah. Sick Boy Custom says, evening, chaps. Good afternoon, family. Hello, world. Hello, Sensei. Happy Sunday. Hello, Angie. Nice to see you. Brian is here. Enric is here. HB4L, welcome to Sherbs. Yolanda says refresh. If anyone becomes an Electrum member, I'll do you a chart request in the show as well. A free chart request as well. You've got 2.5 minutes before we move over to that show. If anyone does become an Electrum member, I'll do a chart request for you as well. $10 max, but I hope you're right, Brian. What's going on? What's Brian said? XRP $50 by year end. I very much doubt that, Brian. I hope so, but I very, very much doubt that. Very unlikely. Nada says, hope you get well soon, Sensei. It's been going around. Yeah. Who knows if I'll be able to do a show tomorrow morning. But I want to do tonight's show on the Electrum event. Thank you, Nada. Yeah, so that's the right Nada. Oh no, Sana and Nada are different, sorry. Do I remember you by any chance? Sana, no, I don't. So, no, last week, long time ago, a kid with shiny white teeth came on the channel, started in my... Oh, yes! Yes, I do remember you, Sana. You came on to Martyn's show, and and you're telling us your tips. Keep the toothpaste in your trick to having white teeth was keeping toothpaste on your teeth when you sleep, and then you wash it off in the morning. Sana, I do remember. Lovely to have you here. Do you still hold TerraWolf? I think I sold it. We had a really, really big pump on TerraWolf, and I think I sold it. Let me look at the chart. I think we bought it like 250. Yeah. I sold at $15.16. I'm way over six figures now. I've come so far. Just want to pop in and say thanks. Oh, Sana, lovely to have you here. Thanks for popping back in. Hope it's not fluoride toothpaste. I don't know. You have to ask Sana what he does. I apologize. Okay, let's go over to the Electrum event. Last chance for anyone to become a member. Thank you, Brian, for giving away those memberships. If you've just tuned in, go to the beginning of the video. You'll get all the information you need for this week. Going to go over to the Electrum event. Here is what we've got in store this week. We've got Electrum week 3. We've got the full trivia night. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, there'll be prizes given away as well. So all Electrum members, get ready now. We're going to go over to that event now. I had two options of Wolf. Thank you, Vanessa. Get well soon, Night All. Thank you. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, guys. I apologize for my unwellness. Hopefully I'll be back soon. If I'm not live tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be live on Tuesday. Get ready, because Wednesday's going to be big, Friday's going to be big. I've given you all the information there. Do go back and watch the show again. Now we're going over to our Electrum event. All Electrum members, get ready, get your other device ready, and let's see how this trivia night goes tonight. So until next time, I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. If not, it'll be Wednesday. Do make sure you've got the newsletter. That will be, I'll take that off. That will be running as well. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.